Hello, Freedom School panel. This webinar is specific to your assigned applications with your Freedom Schools. First thing I want you to do is make sure that you get the grant guidelines. So you Google the New Jersey Office of Faith-Based Initiatives, click on Grant Opportunity, scroll down, and click the link New Jersey Freedom School Innovation Guidelines. And then this application will pop up. There are 5 Freedom Schools in the state of New Jersey, but only 3 applied. One is a church, they couldn't apply. We don't fund religious institutions. The other one dropped the ball, they didn't submit their application. So there's 3 applications. The purpose of the Freedom Schools is really, it's explained here, is to lessen the learning loss of children that attend urban schools, that the learning loss had happened over the summertime. And so Freedom Schools are created, are certified by the Children's Defense Fund to assure that these Freedom Schools implement intensive academic enrichment programs over the summer. And so this is what the funding is going to support, is that type of programming for the summer of 2023. You scroll down, there'll be grant awards subject to availability, application requirements, and rating criteria. So these are the sections, and these are the criteria where it says description criteria that each application is followed. You're also going to need to they're also going to have to upload a logic model. And the logic model should really align with the application. So the resources column aligns with the budget. So primarily whatever's in the resources column should be in the budget. Because you have the resources, you'll be able to implement the activities that are indicated in the project design. The outputs are the goals, the outcomes are the objectives that should align with the goals and objectives of the application. And the impact is the impact that they desire after the participants participate in the learning opportunity, right? And so that's that. And so now what I want to do is share with you a quick presentation, right? So before we go into SAGE. So SAGE stands for Systems for Administering Grants Electronically. Everybody received their username and password, and we're going to access the application. If you're having issues with your username and password, please call me or text me or email me. You have my contact information. To access SAGE, go to www.sage.nj.gov and use Safari or Microsoft Edge. Do not use Google Chrome, as Google Chrome does not interface at all with Sage. And so if you use Google Chrome and you're inputting information and you're really diligent with your comments and you submit save and you think you've done it and we get it, we get a blank sheet. So don't go through all that trouble for nothing. Make sure that you use Safari or Microsoft Edge. Remember to always hit the save button in Sage. Sage doesn't have an automatic save feature, so when in doubt, click save. If you have any questions, here's my contact information. And now we're going to go live. Let's see. All right. So you click, you go to www.sage.nj. What was it? www.state.nj.gov. If you forgot your username or password, you click here, and then it'll prompt you through. The email that you registered for, I emailed everybody their username and password, and if you forgot your username and password, Sage will only send it to that particular email. So you can't input a different email and think you're going to get the link to update your password. So you put your username and password in, you click login. Sometimes Sage can be slow. It can be painfully slow. All right, here we are. And so you'll land on the home page, and you'll see your name, Welcome Hildy. I'm using your password and username. And you expand the drop-down box, and these are the assigned Freedom School applications for you. You click on the grant number to access the application, and you're brought to the document snapshot page. Now, you can do one or two things. You can read the application on the actual portal. So you'll start at project summary. So you click on project summary. And it aligns with the first section of the grant guidelines. And then so each section that you're reviewing, each application that you're reviewing, the rating sheet sections align with the application itself. So that's why you want to have an idea of what they've submitted. So you can do that, or what you can do is you can go hover over management tools, click create full print version, click the support letters, and it'll read it. You got to look at the links. It'll say support letter, another support letter, the logic model, and another support letter. And then you click print version, and what shows up after a few minutes is this PDF version that you can save onto your laptop or PC. And so it has everything that you need. So you can read it, you can read on it, you can read it as opposed to on the font. The applications are not long. It gives you the budget, it gives you the logic model in one place, and then you can rate and score the application that way. So to get back to the application, you can always hit the grant number. And then to get to the rating sheet, you hover over Forms menu, you scroll down to rating sheet, and you click rating sheet. And when you click the rating sheet, you're brought to the rating sheet. And as I stated earlier, each section is guided by the guidelines, and each criteria aligns with each criteria in the rating sheet aligns with what's in the grant guidelines. And so you read the grant guide, you read you read the bullet, and then you go to the project summary, and hey, did they answer the question? And if they answered it well, you give them a 5 or whatever. If they miss one or two things, you penalize them accordingly. And then you need to put really good comments in here. And comments are really important because it's what we use to give them feedback if they don't get funded. So it's really important that you give the comments. So you'll do this for each section, for each application. You'll do this, plug in the numbers. Sage will add it up at the bottom. And then you scroll all the way down to the bottom. And for the initial reading, did they score 70 or higher? Would you recommend them for funding? Yes or no? If it's a 70 or higher, it should be yes. Unless it says, yeah, it's 70, but man, I don't think they can do the job. But you need to indicate that in your comments. Once you submit your preliminary scores by May 18th, and you give me as a team, you give me the date that you want to deliberate in June, which is anywhere between Monday to Friday, anywhere between 8 and 6 p.m. in blocks of 4. Then you'll come back to the application the way I just showed you here, and you indicate, and you put in you'll have a final rating, and then you'll deliberate. Right? You'll say, okay, I scored in this section in the preliminary, I scored it a 5, Yamalet scored it a 0, and Krishna scored it a 2. Then you have to have a conversation because it's too much of a discrepancy. You went from 0 to 5. And, is it a 0 because, Eddie just didn't read it and just said, forget it, I don't think they did anything anyway, and gave it a 0? Or is it something that Krishna and Yamalet missed? So you have to have a conversation. And then you don't have to have the same score at the final, but if there's a 0, either the 0 needs to move up to the positive, right? To a whole number, meaning 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, or the other ones need to come down closer to 0, but not 0, or everybody gives it a 0. So you'll do that, and whatever final number you give it, each peer reviewer needs to give their final comments per section. Oops. You'll do that, and Sage will then add up the numbers. And let's say it's a 70 or higher. You'll come down to the bottom, and for the final, if funding is available, do you recommend funding for this applicant? You'll click yes. And once that's done, after the deliberation, we'll compile all the information. And what we want to try to do this year is get all the deliberations done in June so that we can release all the stipends at the same time in July. All right, if you have any questions, you got my contact number. And thanks a lot for committing to help me out and helping out the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives and being a peer reviewer this year. Have a good day.